Hi everyone, my name is Drea Anoka and I am co-founder of the Alkalign Lifestyle School. And today I am talking about why I love the masculine. As a former feminist, this is such a radical change in how I feel towards the masculine energy. And as someone who was very actually uncomfortable in her own feminine energy, was actually hiding behind her own masculine energy. And honestly, I was very spiteful towards the masculine energy of the male. The reason being, it was going through my feminist phase, my feminist cycle, I started to see men very differently. I experienced a lot of disappointment by men. I allowed myself to be mistreated by men who had wounded masculine energy and honestly, I believe feminine energy. And those were the type of people that I was drawing in. And I just perceived that men were egotistical, they were dogs, that they were unreliable, they were not as powerful as women, and they were not as smart as women. And so I started to see men as honestly those of which I didn't respect. And I had a hard time whenever a man, particularly even my husband, would give instruction, and I took it very offensively. So there was a lot of friction in my relationship with my husband, and this caused a lot of problems. This was a big reason for our divorce and why we had so many problems throughout the years was because I didn't trust his masculine energy. I didn't see or feel that he was truly in his masculine energy, that he was grounded in it. And what I didn't realize before I started understanding masculine and feminine energy and why men are so naturally wanting to gravitate towards their masculine energy and why women want to gravitate so deeply to their feminine energy. Before I started to actually understand that, and I started to even consider the importance of roles in relationships, not even just romantic or intimate relationships, but just relationships between the masculine and feminine, between males and females. I used to believe that women were the smartest, we were the most intuitive, we had the best leadership, and that we ultimately were just the better sex. Over time, I started to realize that there's a lot of women walking around with wounded feminine energy, and they're covering it up with their masculine energy, and they're leading their lives through the masculine. They're not allowing their feminine to show up because their feminine has been wounded, because they feel that they've been wounded by the masculine. So their natural reaction is to show up with this armor as protection. And we're taught to, be kind of cautious of the opposite sex. And I believe that there needs no caution of the opposite sex. There needs to be an understanding of what each gender's role plays, and to accept it, to acknowledge it, and to be fully ingrained in your role in the collective, right? So women naturally, we want to be softer, more nurturing, more free-flowing. And men naturally are more structured, more disciplined, more simple-minded, more problem-solving. And women are more in their creative, right? And when we get to fully embrace our dominant energy, like our natural dominant energy, we feel most aligned with our authenticity. And when we allow our partner or somebody else that we're engaging in a relationship with, we allow them to be fully at home and aligned in their natural dominant energy, then those two energies can dance. But when you don't allow it, there's friction, there's headbutting, there's disrespect, there's not allowing for the feminine to be led by the masculine, and the masculine to be nurtured and nourished by the feminine. When I started to see how the masculine was actually helping me, and realizing that I've had a lot of men actually in my lives that were very aligned with their masculine energy, and they were always there for protection, they were always there for guidance, for discipline. As someone who is very much in her feminine energy and not realizing how often I am in my feminine energy and how much I want to be in my feminine energy, I realized that naturally it doesn't come as easy to me to be so disciplined and structured and organized. In fact, I'm very much free-flowing. I appreciate the discipline, the structure, and the organization. And it doesn't come as easily to me as it does to someone who is naturally structured that way. And for women, we need that, right? We get to be taught that by men. I was in a conversation with a new and dear friend of mine earlier today, and we were having this dialogue about food and our experiences with food and just getting to know one another, as we're going to actually be having a live YouTube session together. And I'm very excited for this, so stay tuned for that. But I realized how much my feminine energy wants to touch all of these different areas in a conversation. It could go so many different directions with it. And that's the creative that wants to be expansive. It wants to be inclusive. And I realized that there were times in the conversation where he's very grounded in his masculine energy to steer the conversation with direction, with structure, with intention, with purpose. And I realized after getting off that call, I was like, oh yeah, wow, that's I really appreciated that. And then it got me to appreciate even more how my husband, for example, has been attempting to do that for me, and I was resistant to it. Almost like taking it as offensively, right? And so when I was able to receive that masculine energy in that conversation with this person, I was able to appreciate it, because I realized that one of the things that I've been missing so much in executing in my mission and my purpose is that I haven't had like solid structure. I haven't had like the discipline and the structure around how to teach it, and it would overwhelm me. And I realized that having someone who can have the organization, the discipline to put things into intention and doing it on purpose, I realized that that was what I really needed. And so that is the masculine energy that is dancing and trying to be entangled with the feminine. And I realized that I got to be very much in my feminine energy, and how appreciative I was. I got to be myself authentically. And this person got to be himself authentically. And because I got to experience that and see that, see the truth of that, see the real dynamic of masculine and feminine, I got to appreciate that. And allowed me to see my partner differently, allowed me to see men differently. So, ladies, for those of you who are carrying around an armor, a cloak, a shield of your masculine energy that is spiteful towards the masculine of the men, I invite you to really dig deep into the areas of your life in which you felt betrayed by the masculine. I invite you to look into the shadows of your own wounds and traumas and ask the questions of what is it about this that was so painful? And can I forgive that person? And ultimately, can I forgive myself and the entanglement with that person? Once you can forgive yourself and forgive the other person, particularly the masculine, you can begin to let your guard down and be more in your feminine. And I see a lot of women who have cancer who have been living in their masculine, and it's not the way that we were intended to live. It's unnatural. We can do it, but it's not natural. And I see men even who have wounded masculine energy and they step into their feminine energy, and it's not natural for them to be there for so long and so often and so frequently. It's not natural. And it's not natural for women to be constantly in their masculine energy. And so when we can understand this and start to apply it, and we can start to uncover the areas of the trauma that has inflicted and affected the way that we see the different genders and the sexes and the roles in which we play and the relationships and dynamics that we have, we can start to build healthier dynamics between the masculine and the feminine, men and women. And we can start to coexist the way that we were intended to. If you found this video helpful, like, subscribe, share, leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this topic. Are you living in your opposite energy more so than your natural energy? What about this video resonated with you? What about it inspired you? What about it upset you? Because wherever we are feeling triggered, those are the areas for us to explore, because there's trauma there. There's wounds there. There's pain there. So I invite you to do that exploration. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.